So let's talk about vectors. Vectors are quantities that has magnitude and direction. In mathematics, when I have a point, assuming this is a point A and this is point B, if an object moves from point A to point B, then if we want to represent the movement of the object, then we can represent that in magnitude and direction. Assuming the distance between point A and point B is 5 meter, then we can say the object move 5 meter east or 5 meter due east. So this is the magnitude and this is the direction. Now, how can we denote vectors? If the vector is such that it is from one point to another point, then we can represent it as the combination of those points relative to the direction. Since the object is moving from A to B, then we must denote it as capital A associated with B, then with an arrow showing that the object is moving from A to B. So the arrow will be at the upper part of the letter. So this identify vector A to B. Now you must keep in mind that as we have this, it's not the same as BA. This is different. So BA is now the opposite of this. It's negative. BA, or let's say AB, will be indeed equals to negative BA. Okay, because the direction is now different. It's not moving in the negative part. So that's why we need to associate negative sign with it. So keep that in mind. However, there's another way in which vectors can be represented or denoted. We can denote vectors with lowercase letter, but in this case, it will be very, very bold. Assuming I want to denote vector AB without using this form, I can denote it with another choices of English alphabet letter, but I will make sure it is very, very bold. Okay, I'll say this is vector A. Okay, or sometimes they might put a bar on top it or beneath it. It can be on top, it can be beneath. Anyhow it is, you can see it can still be represented as a vector. Keep that in mind. Now, there are some basic things associated with vectors that you need to be familiar with. So the first one is known as unit vector. As the name implies, unit. This is a vector with magnitude just 1 unit. The vector with magnitude 1 unit. And its notation, if A is a vector, then unit vector of A, the unit vector of A will be equals to A, then with something like this on top, it with power on top of it. So that's just for unit vector. We have another one known as the position vector. Position vector is a vector obtained from or starting from the origin. When a vector starts from origin, then we said the vector is a position vector. So it means if I have a Cartesian plane, this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. It's normally means that this point will be the origin. Then if I have an object move from origin to this point B, then OB is a position vector. Okay, that's just what the position vectors means. Next one you need to be familiar with is called the zero vector. The zero vector is a vector that has magnitude of 0. Okay, the vector that has magnitude of 0, a vector that's still at the origin, that doesn't move to any other point, or that does not changes its direction. So that's what we call the zero vector. Another one you need to be familiar with is the negative or inverse vector. If A is a vector, okay, and we have another vector to be associated with negative sign, then you need to know that this is the real vector, like this is the negative or inverse vector, or negative inverse vector, negative vector or inverse vector. So when a negative sign is associated with the vector, then you need to know that it is the negative vector or the inverse vector. Now you need to keep in mind, if I have A to be directed towards the eastern direction, and I have another vector to be same as A, but the direction is towards the western part. Keep in mind that this one is still the negative of this one, or the opposite of this one. As you can see, the arrow has been directed towards the negative x-axis, why the real vector is directed towards the positive x-axis. So if the vector is from one point to another as well, like the one I begin the video with, which is AB, but we have it this way, and we have another vector AB directed towards this way, then knows that this is the negative of this, or the inverse of that. So that's just how the negative vector works. So the last one you need to be familiar with for this video is called the equality of vector. Two vectors are said to be equal when they possess the same magnitude and direction. That's only when they are going to be equal. So if A is a vector moving towards the eastern part, and B is also a vector moving towards the eastern part, if the magnitude of A is 5 meter and the magnitude of B is also 5 meter, then we can say vector B is equals to vector A, and that is it. So hopefully you find this helpful. If you haven't subscribed, please do it, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.